It is that time for my response to a tweet. And today's tweet says, if we need to bring value back into the White House, don't we need someone who builds valuable buildings? If we need to bring value back into the White House, don't we need someone who builds valuable buildings? I tell you guys, I love you guys. I love you guys. Just keep selling Trump. I got you. But here's my response to this tweet. I can agree that the White House has lost its value. But in order to bring the value back, I think it's important to look at how the value got lost. And since it's the people's house, that means that the people have lost some value too. Our country has lost some value. And so now, before we go into repairing this thing, I think it's important to look at how it lost its value. Let's take this as an example. Imagine you have $1 million home. You paid $1 million for it. You've had it for some years. And let's say over the last 8 years, you want to sell your home, but you've had it over 8 years. And you paid $1 million for it, but you want to sell it. You would like to get $1 million out of it. But over the 8 years, it has lost some value because of normal wear and tear. Let's say you have children. The children have got crayon marks all over the walls, might have a hole or two. The door hinges, the door's kind of leaning off the hinges. There's a lot of renovation. Say, for instance, you had a lot of parties at your house. And then the neighbors were over there and they devalued it some. And then, say, for instance, you had a couple break-ins and stuff like this. And I don't know, just the house is now valued at $500,000. But you want to get $1 million for it. You got to bring it back up to value. So looking at all these things that's happened in the house, and if you know anything about selling houses, if you want to get $1 million out of it, that means you have to make it look double that value. It has to look like a $2 million, $3, $4 million home in order for you to get $1 million. But you're standing in there and you got somebody in there appraising and they're saying, no, man, we could probably at best you get $500,000 for this house because of the walls, because of the ceilings, because of the roof leaking, all these things. So now let's look at what has made your house devalued. Because what's the sense in doing all this repairs if the same thing is going to be happening in your house? You're trying to get it to be a $2-3 million house so you can get $1 million. So let's say the kids, they've caused a major part of the damage. Before you go into this process, you're either going to have to, one, change the functioning of the kids, take away some of their freedom, or you're going to have to wait for the kids to grow up and get out on their own so that you don't get your house devalued that way anymore. So let's say your neighbors are coming over. You're going to have to sever some of the change the way your neighbors think they can function in the house, put them on lockdown, or get rid of your neighbors. That has consequences because what if you need your neighbors to look out for you because your house gets broken into? And so if you get rid of them the wrong way, then your neighbors won't look out for you there. Let's say a tree damaged the roof. If you want to fix the roof, you're going to have to get rid of some of the trees and make sure that that doesn't damage it again. So now let's take this back to the White House that you feel needs to have value back in. Let's look at what has devalued the White House or America. Let's start with liberalism. Liberalism has got our White House jacked up. It has our country messed up. So liberalism is just like these kids or these neighbors. If you do not put liberalism on lockdown, you're going to still have the same problem. You can't wait for liberalism to grow up and get out on its own. It doesn't function that way. Liberalism is on everybody else's dime. So if liberalism is the thing that has devalued our White House, in order to get it back to double its value so that it can be at the value that we feel that it should be, you have to make sure liberalism doesn't impact it. Other than that, you'll never get it back to where it needs to be because liberalism is what's destroyed it in the first place. And so the principles of liberalism is what we're going to have to put on lockdown and eradicate from the structure of our country or of the White House so it can get back to its value. Its value is exceptionalism. That's where we're most valuable. Our president is looked at as an exceptional individual. America, we're looked at as exceptional. Because we have a one-of-a-kind special house, this house will always be great, chipping, paint, and all. But when it's at its value, it's when it's functioning exceptional. So first of all, you can't hire somebody to fix the White House that doesn't even understand what the end result of the White House is supposed to be. He thinks the end result is it being great. He thinks the end result of our country is being great. Our country will always be great, chip, paint, and all. It needs to be exceptional. So how can you hire a contractor that can't even understand that principle? But bigger than that, if liberalism is what's destroyed it, how are you going to hire somebody that has liberal tactics and liberal things in them and think that it's going to get better? We have to put liberalism on lockdown and we have to eradicate it from every thought process because that is what has devalued our country. You can't ask a liberal to help you root out liberalism. It doesn't work that way. And it's not just Donald Trump. This is something that we have to look at for everything. Why is our White House busting at the seams? Debt. Why is America busting at the seams? Debt. We got too much debt. We owe too much. The government is too big. The person that you're so head over heels, the people that you're so head over heels for, they haven't said one time how they're going to shrink the government. Every single one of their proposals is more government. That's why our house is devalued in the first place. Big government. So liberalism, you can't say for sure is not rooted out. Matter of fact, I'm telling you that it's not. And big government is here to stay. If we continue to go down the road we're going with our candidates, not Donald Trump, Ted Cruz, Rubio, I don't know. Tell me, there's one candidate that I've heard say we have to get it back to we the people, because that's where the solution is, people. It's not another politician. It's we the people. We the people shrink the government. We the people get the debt under control because we're not relying on some potential liberalism to try to repair our house. We repair America when Americans roll up their sleeves, not hire another politician that we have to buy him the sleeves. Because the sleeves are never long enough. They never roll up smooth enough. He's always going to need some more sleeves. That's how the government works. It always needs more. And you tell me where Donald Trump has proposed something to where he doesn't need more government. You tell me where Ted Cruz has promoted something that doesn't need more government. One of the first things that pops out of their mouths is, that's why I filed legislation to do it. That's more government. Everything they're saying is more government. This is why our house is in shambles. We have too much government and not enough people. We, the people, need to renovate America. not hire another billionaire real estate developer, big government minded politician that says that they're not politicians. See, outsider means what? We're going to get the people from the outside. America, we have been put on the outside of our own house, and now that we're peeking in it, we're saying our house is not as valuable as it used. Oh my God, our house is in shambles. How do we do it? We don't go hire another contractor. We don't go do the same thing that's got our house destroyed. We understand how it got destroyed. We say it's liberalism, big government, not enough we the people. And so I don't care how they get you emotionally hooked up. Think about it. They're getting you emotionally charged for you to hire another politician. Because I guarantee you this. You haven't heard how they're going to shrink liberalism and shrink the government. You're not hearing that. I heard a candidate say, we got to put this thing back in the hands of the people. That's something that has to be done. Hey, that's my response to a tweet on the Phil Williams Show.